I want to talk about two topics today. The first thing I'm going to talk about is I don't have a lot to say about it, but I'm basically, I just want to talk about this as a warning to potential customers. It's kind of a fraudulent situation going on, and that's regarding certain ads I've seen on Facebook for a protein supplement. I'm not going to mention names, but you'll probably know which one I'm talking about. It's all over Facebook. This protein is being pushed because it's supposedly making claims that most of the average protein supplement, including whey supplements, are excreted as waste material. The ads for this particular supplement claim that only 18% of whey is usable by the body, whereas this particular supplement is 100% usable. All right, now let's look at the truth. First of all, there's no reference whatsoever for the claim that only 18% of whey is usable by the body. That is complete garbage. Whey is a highly assimilable protein. Most of it is used by the body, not maybe 100%, but to say that only 18% is used is just absolute nonsense. And the fact is that they don't have a reference to show because there is no reference. That reference was made up and was pulled out of somebody's ass. Just like a reference a couple of years ago, which I also immediately knew was fraudulent, was for a creatine product called creatine ethyl ester, in which the advertising claimed that it was 4,000% better than creatine monohydrate. And I looked for the reference, and of course there was no reference. It was a statement completely made up by the purveyor of the supplement. Now, my position on supplements, and I've said this in prior videos, supplements can be very useful for various reasons, as ergogenic aids to help your training, help muscle recovery, also, but mainly also to supply nutrients that you're not obtaining in your diet. If you're not following the so-called balanced diet, eating servings of fruits, vegetables, dairy products, blah, blah, again, not getting a large variety of foods, the odds are that eventually you're going to suffer a nutritional deficiency, and this is where nutritional supplements are very useful. However, the problem, and I'm sure everyone watching this is aware of, is that the supplement industry is not policed very well. The governing body that supposedly ensures truthfulness, if you want to call it, in supplements, the Food and Drug Administration, they are underfunded and undermanned. They can't keep up with all the fraudulent products on the market. So you get a situation where you get a lot of mislabeling, where products don't contain the potencies that are listed on the label, so on and so forth, and they can get away with it for a long time. The only time the FDA steps in is if a supplement is shown to have actual adverse effects on health, which is very rare, but and in some cases it's not even true. For example, the ephedrine controversy in 2004, ephedrine was removed from the market because it supposedly was associated with an increased rate of strokes and heart attacks. In fact, this only happened in those with predispositions to cardiovascular disease, and also in those who overdosed on ephedrine. They used huge amounts. Millions of people, including myself, used ephedrine for years without a single toxicity problem at all. This was unfairly removed, and the real reason ephedrine was removed was because it was a more effective, when combined with caffeine, it was a more effective fat reduction duo than the drugs dispensed by physicians as weight loss agents. The weight loss agents didn't work very well, whereas ephedrine and caffeine, especially when combined with exercise, worked in a number of ways to reduce body fat. But this video, here I am getting off on a tangent again. This video is not about ephedrine. I'm just trying to point out about that there's a lot of problems with the supplement industry, and this protein supplement I'm talking about is a good example of it. What exactly is it? Well, when I looked into it, I got to laugh because the so-called new revolutionary protein supplement is not so new and not so revolutionary. In fact, it's been around for about 50 years. What is it? It's a blend of amino acids. That's all it is. And amino acids, anyone who with even a rudimentary knowledge of nutrition knows that amino acids are the elemental forms of protein. When you ingest protein, they're broken down through various enzymatic processes into the most elemental form, which is amino acids. That's what's absorbed into the blood and enters the muscle and so on and so forth, metabolized in the liver. So the idea behind the supplement is that since amino acids are about as digested as they can, that 100% will be used, unlike whey protein, where some of it may not be used because it has to go through a digestive process. And this notion is based on the ignorance of the general public as to the nuances of protein digestion and usage. The truth of the matter is that amino acids in a free form are not quite as great as they might seem. They're definitely useful for certain purposes, particularly individual amino acids, which I'll get to that in a second. But normally when you take free-form amino acids, what they found a couple of years ago was that they hit the body so fast that the liver tends to oxidize a large percentage of them. In other words, they're not actually used for muscle protein synthesis. They're broken down into urea in the liver and then excreted in the kidney by the kidneys. They're excreted out of the body. So this notion that you use 100% of free-form amino acids is just plain bullshit. But of course, the ads don't tell you that. But the thing that pisses me off is this notion that the free amino acid supplement is so much better than the whey protein, which is not good, which is not true, I should say. They've actually had studies where they've compared free-form amino acid formulas to whey protein isolate, and the whey protein isolate always proves superior in building muscle, increasing muscle protein synthesis, for the simple reason that while whey protein is rather quickly absorbed, and it reaches peak levels in the blood in 60 minutes, it's not immediately absorbed. It goes through some digestive process, but this spares the amino acids from being oxidized prematurely in the liver, as is the case with free-form amino acids. So if you see any of these ads, where they talk about 100% protein utilization, whey protein is only 18% utilized, don't buy the product. It's overpriced. The amino acid supplements are cheap. These people are making a huge profit over something that probably cost about $1.50 to produce. They're probably, I don't know what they charge. I didn't look. They're probably charging $60, $70 a bottle. It's a complete freaking ripoff. Now, as far as amino acids use, I believe there's definite beneficial use of amino acids when taken in singular form. In other words, individual amino acids. For example, you take L-tyrosine. L-tyrosine is the precursor for the catecholamine hormones such as norepinephrine, epinephrine. And a little trick is if you take, for example, 1,500 to 2 grams of L-tyrosine with caffeine, it'll actually make the caffeine work better, because the caffeine works by, among other ways, stimulating the release of catecholamines. And of course, L-tyrosine is the base material or raw material for the synthesis of catecholamines in the body. Tryptophan. Tryptophan is another essential amino acid. When taken alone, away from other amino acids, it will be converted into serotonin in the brain, an inhibitory neurotransmitter and a calming neurotransmitter that aids in the process of sleep induction. That's still another amino acid individual. I can go on and on, but my point is that when taken singularly, amino acids are extremely useful. Everybody knows about the branched chain amino acids, which are actually 3 amino acids: leucine, isoleucine, and valine. They have their use too. However, my personal feeling, and I've done a video on this, is that branched chain amino acids are very freely available in food. They're loaded, any high protein food, eggs, meat, chicken, fish, is loaded with branched chain amino acids. Of course, whey protein is 16% branched chain amino acids. So you don't really need to take a supplemental branched chain amino acid, contrary to what some ads say. But I also wanted to talk about, this study, which I can't even avoid laughing when this study appeared in a journal, and it caught my attention. It says, whey protein supplementation and its potentially adverse effects on health, a systematic review. Now, what this thing did is these researchers went through the medical literature, and they were looking for, and they noted that some of the benefits of whey include modulation of the immune system. It increases immune response. It has antibacterial effects, antiviral effects, and antifungal effects. That's some of the benefits. And then they talk about the things that they found, supposedly negative effects, include possible acne formation from ingesting whey, dysfunction of the microbiota. The microbiota, or the intestinal microbiome, is the population of bacteria, fungi, and other organisms that exist in the colon that exert many beneficial effects. And a couple of studies tried to say that whey protein can cause a imbalance of the microbiota in the sense that it stimulates the production of, let's say, bad forms of bacteria in the intestine rather than good forms. So they call that dysbiosis, or in this case, dysfunction. Another criticism was that whey protein can adversely affect kidney functions. Now, if you look at the proof here, you got to go a little further down. If you look at the proof, for example, kidney function, they talk about how a hyperprotein diet with the appearance of kidney problems using respectively animal and human models. Whey protein intake increased plasma urea. Plasma urea is the main metabolic byproduct of any protein, not just whey. Any protein, any excess protein is broken down into urea because it's water soluble and excreted by the kidneys. This idiotic article is trying to say that because whey protein can produce urea, it's putting stress on the kidneys, which is absolutely absurd. It says also it increases urinary calcium excretion. That is complete nonsense. Protein only increases calcium excretion in the absence of phosphate or phosphate in foods. It's in everything, including whey protein. It completely prevents it. This nonsense about whey protein or any kind of protein causing calcium excretion has been disproved many years ago. They talk about how the high protein diet can put a possible overload on the kidneys due to increase in the pressure and rate of glomerular filtration. Now that is a problem under one condition: if you're in acute renal failure. If you're in acute kidney failure, yes, eating a lot of protein is definitely a stress on the kidneys. However, study after study, including many studies with bodybuilders who've used 5 times more than the minimal requirement of protein to build muscle, have shown absolutely no stress on the kidneys. The kidneys are more than well equipped to handle any amount of protein unless there's a pathological condition in the kidneys present. So again, this is old crap that's already been disproven. Then they talk about here about, about the liver. They talk about how whey protein without exercise has been associated with liver problems, including elevated liver enzymes, indicating liver stress. Well, the truth of the matter is, anytime you work out with weights, the same 2 enzymes that they refer to are also elevated. Why? Because these elevated, when you work out, you cause a bit of muscle damage, and when you cause the muscle damage, these particular enzymes are released from muscle, not liver. And the fact is that also when you eat a high protein diet, it might slightly elevate these liver enzymes. But that's only because the liver is processing the amino acids. It's not any particular strain on the liver. This is just laughable garbage. I can't believe they actually publish this crap. What's that? Here's the one about intestinal microbiota. They talk about how it can, ingesting whey protein can stimulate the production of certain types of bacteria which are considered adverse to health. Well, it turns out that consumption of whey protein also increases beneficial bacteria such as bifidobacterium and lactobacillus, which basically overcome any negative effects on the other bacteria. So the whole effect is neutralized. It has no effect. And then they talk about acne. They talk about how whey could possibly cause acne, and the mechanism that they list is because whey protein could possibly contain insulin-like growth factor 1. And insulin-like growth factor 1 is thought to increase sebum production, which blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go into the whole thing. But the plain fact of the matter is there is no insulin-like growth factor 1 in whey protein. It's processed. And even if there were, insulin-like growth factor 1 is a protein hormone which would be broken down in the gut. It would have no physiological effect. Even the tiny amounts that do remain with milk don't exist in whey protein. Again, this is another red herring, a completely false thing. So, I just wanted to mention that. This is just a ridiculous study. It's not worth a thing. It's garbage. I certainly wouldn't write about it in my Applied Metabolics newsletter. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Whey protein is safe. Again, if you have any pre-existing kidney problems, you got to be careful of any protein intake, but don't worry about it. So that's all I have to say today. If you want to have the best information available on nutrition, exercise science, anti-aging research, fat loss techniques that really work, ergogenic aids, women's health and fitness, food supplements, which ones don't, subscribe today to my Applied Metabolics newsletter, www.appliedmetabolics.com. When you subscribe, I'll send you a personal invitation to join my private Applied Metabolics Facebook page, where each day I put new studies and new information on nutrition, health, exercise science, and general medicine. Also, there's an email portal on my Applied Metabolics Facebook page where current subscribers only are welcome to submit short questions to me, which I'll be happy to answer. Only current subscribers. I don't answer unsolicited questions. You're welcome to leave comments and suggestions for future videos under this video. There's an outside chance I might answer some of the questions, very unlikely. I only, again, respond to questions from my current subscribers. That's all I have time for. If you want to have again, subscribe today, 40 to 50 pages every month, no ads, no advertisement. I'm not trying to sell you anything other than information. www.appliedmetabolics.com. If you want to have the best friend you'll ever have, go to your local shelter, adopt a dog. Bruno's hiding somewhere. I would have put him in the video, but he's hiding, and he also was very angered by that Whey study. I'm going to give him this study so he could chew it up and spit it out. Take care.